Hi, Project family. How's it going? In this episode, we're going to talk to you guys all about how we've been strengthening our feet this past year because we've been using a lot of different tools to take our feet to the next level. It's a process and it takes time, and we want to help you guys get through all those growing pains. So make sure to pay attention to this episode, and I hope you guys enjoy it. That's it. That's the one.
Is it plugged in? That's always the worst.
God, well,
Oh, God.
that did feel like a dad thing right there.
It totally was.
It's not working. Can you fix it? And like look down. Yes, I can.
It could have been great. You could have like called like whatever the fuck company makes these things and been on tech support and been sitting there forever and trying to like run diagnostic software through the computer. Trying to figure it out, and you're like, I gotta plug it in.
You truly are Zaddy, Andrew, because like we're over here like, what? We couldn't make any of this work, and then you're just like, oh, there you go, guys. Good kids. All right.
And Nsima and I started really sweating, and it's freezing out.
Wait, did we break something the last time?
Yeah, because I was like, everything got moved. What happened? And you're like, whoa. Neither one of you wanted to admit it.
I am always. Remember when Bill Maeda was here, and I ran over to give you some of those chips, and I broke a camera. Like I literally just broke a camera by walking by it.
That actually still makes me nervous because it happened again, but you weren't even around. So something happened since that day.
I saw Brock Lesnar was on. I forget what the guy's first name is, but McCaffrey's podcast. I'm losing his first name. Anyway, it's a popular podcast, and Brock Lesnar was on there, and Brock Lesnar like pounded the table, and the table just like exploded, and they all started like laughing. And so I was only listening to audio.
Yeah,
I'm like, I gotta watch this on on video, and it's hilarious. I don't know why they gave him such a small table. He looks weird sitting there. The cowboy hat that he has on his head is like bigger than the table itself.
Yeah, and
when he smashes the table, the whole thing just kind of explodes. And I'm like, they do this on purpose, or like, what's the deal?
I have a tendency.
Sits there and just looks like a mammoth dude. It's crazy.
How big are his hands, by the way? Because I know we've seen pictures.
Yeah, he's huge.
God, I really want to put my hand up on his, like, you know, and see just what we're dealing with there. Because, men with like huge hands, that's just a flex without even flexing. You know what I mean?
He's got big ass hands. He's got a big ass neck. He's got a big ass head.
Yeah.
I mean, he just looks intimidating.
Did you guys see? I forgot.
Doesn't really show it, but
oh, here he is.
Apparently,
is he rock?
Yeah, he just like flipped it over.
Wait, was he actually mad though?
No. He's just fucking around. Let's see if he can play the audio.
Is he rocking a man bun?
Oh, he's doing the Stone Cold's thing.
All the way there. All the way back. All the way back.
That's a way to start off a podcast.
Honestly. Here we are. Oh man, we got to get Brock Lesnar here at some point, dog. We got to get him here.
Oh man, he's amazing.
Oh, by the way.
Ooh.
Oh, those are nice.
These are nice. These are nice. The one thing, okay, so these are from Vivo, right? We've been into this barefoot shit for a while now, but these are their new hiking boot. I forgot they're called like the Tracker Decon, but I like this because you can wear it hiking, but you can also wear it casually.
It's nice when there's like a little extra cushion on the bottom, because I know for me with lots of running, my feet get kind of banged up, my feet get kind of stiff.
Yeah.
And so I sometimes need a little more cushion underneath the foot, and those provide that.
It's actually why I was wearing like that. That's what I'll do with some of this, because like sometimes like what happened with my left toe, it was like my left middle toe. I was doing jujitsu and it kind of, something happened. So now it was kind of
something weird happened.
Something weird happened. So when I wear like something too minimal, I can tell I'm putting too much weight on it. But with certain other barefoot shoes I have like these, it gives me a little bit of room. You know what I mean? But they look so good, man. Vivo, they've really killed it, because they have way more styles of shit on their site now. Y'all gotta check them out. Check them out.
I think sometimes your feet could use a little break, and I think with all the stuff that we're getting into with Shama running sandals, we collaborated with them and made a sandal. We just want to make sure that people aren't like overly kind of killing their feet, because you can do that. You can get excited about some of this barefoot stuff, and it's great for like the growth and maturity of your foot and for your feet to act like feet and your toes to act like toes, and for you to be able to spread your toes and for you to have full functionality of your feet. But also you want to make sure that they're, especially like I've been running every day for the last 120 some odd days, over 5 miles every day. Yeah. And even now, like sometimes I'm running faster. And so like the other day I ran on the beach and I didn't do the math. I didn't realize I was gonna be out there for so long. I ran like 13 miles total. And like 75% of it was at a pretty fast pace. And so my feet felt like your hands if you were just to sit there and just smack a heavy bag over and over and over again. So my feet just started kind of taking a beating. And I was wearing the Vibrams because I thought I kind of thought about it ahead of time. Like I need some sort of thing, and I didn't want to wear like a regular shoe on the beach, but it wasn't a good idea because your feet need to recover. So while it is great to wear these things and it is great to train your feet, you got to be careful because it's for each person. It's going to be something they're going to have to get used to, just like any other type of training.
Yeah. In this episode, guys, what we're going to try to go over is because there's a lot of people in the audience have already started getting like Vivos and Barefoot shoes. And just like I think we've had a few people talk about on the podcast, you know, that book Born to Run, I think it came out 2011 or 2012. People started getting to the Barefoot craze, buying Vibrams, and then people started saying, oh, this shit doesn't work because injuries. When you go from wearing like a super padded shoe, right? And then you start wearing this flat shoe that has a minimal cushion, and now your feet are getting all of that impact. If you go too hard, too fast, you're bound to run into a little bit of resistance, and which we have too. But if you can do some things along the way, you can come out on the other side with nice, healthy feet.
And some strong feet.
Some strong-ass feet. Let me get something real quick.
Andrew, can you pull up the Nike Alpha Flies too? Because I think this is important. I think it's important for people to understand that first of all, if you're a runner, I think that it's an absolute must. You need to have kind of a lot of different shoes. I just think it's important. But for other people that are just being a little more casual about it, so these shoes will help you a lot. A lot of people are asking me, how do you run if you're a bigger guy? Now, this shoe is in a category. These shoes are in a category called a super shoe.
It's like an Escalade.
Yeah. And you can buy there's many different kinds. Like Hoka makes them. A bunch of companies make them.
It's Ultra make them too, right?
Ultra makes them. Yeah, you can find, and there's more affordable prices. Like the Nike ones are like the highest end ones are like $275. But you can find ones that are probably closer to like $150 and stuff like that. But these literally help with the impact of your workout. I would compare it to a knee sleeve, an elbow sleeve, and I wouldn't go as far as to compare it to a lifting belt, but it's damn near close. The problem with these, and maybe the Hoka one and the Ultra don't have the same problem, but the problem with these can be that they squish your feet and they don't allow your feet and your lower leg to train the way that they need to train. Like you still want that lower leg to train. And so this is not going to necessarily lead your leg to be detrained by any means, but it's not the same activity. So I think it's good to kind of toggle back and forth. That's exactly how I do it. So anyway, I just wanted to explain some of that to people because I think people see me running in different shoes and they get confused and like, you left all the barefoot stuff behind. It's like, no, I still utilize all that stuff frequently. That's why my feet are so jacked.
Yeah. No, your feet, all of our feet has changed. But one thing I want to really stress that like one comment that I've seen here and there, not on just when we're talking about barefoot stuff, but when I see other people talking about the importance of wearing more minimal shoes or being barefoot more often, is some people are saying, well, you know, this barefoot stuff might just be purely anecdotal because there's no research to back up the efficacy of barefoot shoes and stuff. But honestly, from all the changes that we've seen as far as the way we move, like I can speak personally, my balance is better. My ability to do things on one foot. I haven't had, there was a time late last year, I had a jiu-jitsu tournament and Kelly Strat helped me with this, but something happened to one of my toes. I forgot the exact injury, but it swelled up. And that same injury happened a second time a few months later. I've had no foot injuries after my feet have managed to get stronger. Not just that, my ability to have good dexterity in terms of my toes, in terms of spreading them, going in and out with them, just all this like dexterity with my feet is way better. And I can literally, the tendons that are like, for example, in your hands, you have these type of tendons here. Okay. In my feet, these tendons didn't used to be visible late last year. And now they're very thick, which kind of shows how much stronger my feet have gotten, because not only, changing my footwear, but also just doing more things barefoot. It's made a huge difference. So I know it's an anecdote, but not only us, so many people we've had on the podcast have talked about the same thing. And there are a lot of people who are like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. If you take the time to let your feet change and get stronger, you will reap the benefits upstream.
And I believe where the Nike Free, the Nike shoe they made years and years ago, probably, 10 years ago, that shoe was based off of one of the track athletes that Nike was supporting. I don't recall who it was, but it was a famous track coach. And Nike asked the track coach, like, hey, how is things going? We want to have some data on our shoes and know more about how it's going. And the guy's like, well, we don't use your shoes. We train barefoot most of the time. And we go out in the field and we're training our feet, and we're in the gym and we're jumping off of, specific surfaces to help make the toes and the ankle and the lower leg stronger. And then so Nike was like, well, let's see if we can kind of find kind of a happy medium between someone being barefoot, because especially like in track, this was a track coach, the spikes and stuff that they wear, like they're pretty minimal. There's not a lot underneath those shoes. It's just kind of a spike and just like a small strip of foam. And that's about all they got underneath their foot. And so the Nike Free was a shoe that was trying to kind of align with you being barefoot. So then there's a lot of coaches over the years, MMA coaches. And, when you are in like the UFC and stuff, they are barefoot in the ring. But specifically, not just training barefoot, but specifically training the feet, not just working on your strikes and stuff while you're barefoot. We saw that with Corey Schlesinger. He's a huge fan of doing that stuff. David Weck is talking about it all the time. We're seeing a lot of people talking about the importance of training the foot, knees over toes, talking about training the tibialis, and even getting into some of the stuff for the feet. Obviously, when you train the calves and the tibialis, you're directly working the arches of your feet. You're directly working all those top tendons that you were talking about.
Late last year, when I had that injury at that jiu-jitsu tournament, I messaged Ben about it too. Because I was asking him, dog, do you do anything for the feet? And he was like, actually, yeah, like that's something that you probably should start tackling. It's something that he wasn't really putting out a lot, but he mentioned you need to start finding things to start strengthening your feet because it'll make a difference. So Ben is also one of those people who got me thinking. And when he came here, the brand of shoe he wore, it doesn't look as good. That's just my opinion. And it is a little bit more narrow at the toe box, which is odd, is a barefoot shoe called Feye. I think it's Feiye. Feye. But he's been doing the barefoot stuff for a while too. And it makes a lot of sense. Because like, for example, with all the knee issues that I've had through the years, again, the way I move now feels so much better because I think that what's happening is just all my movement from the bottom is just way more efficient. I noticed the way I walk is different. The way I can balance is different. In terms of jiu-jitsu, I can do a lot of interesting passes that I wouldn't have been able to expect to do kind of off of one foot. And even the way I can lay pressure on people is somewhat different too, because when I'm doing certain things and laying pressure, I'm able to dig into my toes. Since my feet have way more dexterity, I'm able to kind of plant off of my toes and lay pressure in which it makes me heavier. So it's really cool. And one thing that were you going to talk about that?
Yeah, I was just going to mention, I was talking the other day with some people and we're talking about like rolling the ankle. And sometimes like a good solution is to like just completely eliminate whatever the main cause of rolling your ankle would be. So in something like volleyball, something like basketball, in those sports, one of the things that happens with people rolling their ankle is they land on another opponent. They go to jump for the ball and then their foot lands on somebody else's foot. And you're like, well, shit, man, I don't even know. Like, how would you prevent that? Well, if you have any basic shoe, this is a Ultra running shoe, and this is a 0 drop and all those things, but any shoe that has like any surmountable rubber on the bottom is going to allow you to click and flip over, because there's a certain, let's just say it's a 1/2 inch thing. There's a 1/2 inch thing where if your foot gets caught up on somebody else's foot, your foot is going to get put into a position, then all of a sudden it's going to like roll over onto itself all the way to where your outside ankle bone might kind of hit the ground, which otherwise it wouldn't do that if you were barefoot. So as weird as it might sound, having some sort of barefoot shoe or some sort of really minimalist shoe in those sports, which hasn't been done in a long time, like they used to wear the Nike Converse, but I think you would roll your ankle in those too, because those had probably a 1/2 inch or so underneath as their sole as well. It would be interesting. I don't know if it would be a solution, but it's an interesting thing. Like, what if you played these sports barefoot?
Yeah.
Now you're not gonna be able to play as well. You're not gonna be able to put as much force into a basketball court with your feet, with just your regular bare feet, as you would with when you have a shoe on. You can be more reckless because it doesn't hurt, right? So you can fucking jam your foot into the ground as hard as you want and spring up. But it would be interesting. I don't think that you would roll. So it'd be interesting if some of the sports can get, better footwear for their athletes, so people aren't rolling their feet and stuff so much. You see it a lot in pro football, especially on turf, when the guy goes to like cut and his forces are still kind of going one way, his body's trying to go the other, and the foot, because it's in a shoe, it slides and rolls slightly, but then rolls all the way over onto that rubber that's underneath the foot.
David Turin, actually, I've been saying his last name wrong. It's not Thurin, it's Turin. On his Instagram recently, he had a really good video about something that people can do. I don't know if you're able to find it, Andrew, but on his Instagram, it's one of his recent reels where he talked about like people rolling their ankles. And it's a short one, but pretty much it's pretty simple. If you can, increase the range of what you do on your ankles, like if you're like standing on it and then you literally like, let's say you bend your ankle one way and you use some resistance. Here we go. If you're not watching, then this is dope. If we can play the sound.
He just put his ankles like right on the ground.
First one is not a stretch.
All right,
Just bring
let's
your
restart
ankle over
this.
your knee and lift your foot sideways.
That's a good stretch. That feels really good.
Come on, audio. Where are you at? I can't see.
Bottom, here we go.
Rolled ankles. Two things: ankle strength in compromised positions and ankle flexibility, so that those ranges of motion are no longer unsafe. This first one is not a stretch. Just bring your ankle over your knee and lift your foot sideways. All you have to do is flex your peroneal muscles just like this to bring your foot back down. At least 10 reps, but I like to do 2 sets. That should make you pretty sore tomorrow. When you start to feel confident and strong, go ahead and grab a pole, and you're gonna do a similar thing, but this time you're using your body weight as resistance, and you're finding just a little bit of a stretch. Avoid pain. Just go far enough that you feel those muscles activate. And lastly, you can use an ankle inversion as a stretch. Don't go into pain, but the more advanced you get, the more weight you'll be able to comfortably put into it. Stay flexy.
Yeah. So that's one of the cool things. And that's why I think like what Ben Patrick has been doing is so effective. What David is talking about there is so effective because you're not just stretching those areas. Your body is now able to be resilient in those areas rather than just ripping apart. And now if you actually end up going into that position, let's say you're a volleyball player or a basketball player, you won't necessarily get injured because your foot can now handle that stress. So it's a good idea to try to venture into that and see what you can handle.
And congrats to David and his wife. They just had their baby.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Congrats, guys.
I've also noticed that like in, working on my feet, working on, some myofascial release type stuff through the feet, the calves, the ankles, and is it called the peroneal? Like that area on the outside.
The shin. Yeah.
That is a tough one. Like that area on me is very stiff. And what I'm noticing for myself, and I don't know if this is true of other people, but after doing a lot of work in these areas, it actually kind of changed my perspective on pain. I don't think that people, I don't think that most people suffer from what people speculate as to be chronic pain. People try to label it as chronic pain. I think they just have a bunch of things that need myofascial release. I'm not saying that's for everybody, because maybe there's people who've had surgeries and different things, and there's always people that have different circumstances, right? But I think that just in knowing what I know and knowing the pain that sometimes is in my body and getting work done by like professionals, and then me also digging through stuff here and there, I'll find something and I'll be like, how does my brain and body deal with that? Mm-hmm. Like, that hurts so fucking bad, and I don't have any idea that it hurts.
Like what? What? Like,
could be like a forearm or something.
There we go.
Could be that peroneal area that I didn't even know is in tons of pain. What I heard more recently too is that when your fascia hurts, it's really hard to label like where you're hurt. But when your muscles hurt, a muscle, a ligament, tendon, you can pinpoint it a little bit more. Yeah. So you're like, man, my tricep really, I don't know, man. I did something weird the other day, and there's something going on there. But if it's, if it's some chunk of fascia that's just siphoning off the circulation in the area because there's a big knot there, it's harder to determine. Like, man, I don't know, it's like my neck or something. And then somebody finds all the tension in your shoulder, or vice versa. You see that a lot of times.
All the PTs are yelling at you saying, this is pseudoscience, Mark. Where's the research to back this up? But but seriously, we had Chris Godowski on. We've had a bunch of people that have come on the podcast and talked about the importance of like fascia. And honestly, myofascial release is huge. One thing you can get on Amazon right now, and we have it on our feet. Go to Amazon and type in Neuroball. This is like, whenever we're podcasting and standing here, we have this at the bottom of our feet. And one thing that I think is really dope is for anyone that, let's say you were working multiple hours a day and you have to be at a desk. This is a way that you can literally work on the fascia of your feet while sitting or standing. And it's also going to cause you to move a little bit more, increasing your NEAT. Yeah, you can get some on Amazon for like $30. Break it in half and smash your feet with it. Right now we have rock mats under our feet too. So like anything that's going to increase just your proprioceptive feedback, which just means your awareness of your feet, is going to be helpful. Another thing that's helpful, and you can get this on Amazon or you can get it from Vibram, is toe socks. Might not think too much about, like, I have toe socks on right now. Whenever I wear normal shoes, can they see it, Andrew?
No, yeah. Or sorry, yeah, they can.
I think it's a good idea for a lot of people just to get rid of their regular socks and just convert over, man. Just switch over.
I have purely toe socks. Yeah. I don't care if I get roasted for this. They can see it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Kind of look like Mr. Deeds.
Mr. Deeds?
Yeah. With his like
not Jim Carrey, Adam Sandler?
Yeah, with his like dead foot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and he jabs the hot poker thing into it.
I don't remember. Scene. I remember the movie, but I don't remember
So
that
it's
scene.
Adam Sandler, and then his foot is just completely black because it's dead. So that's why when you lifted your foot up, but I just seemed to like it's totally that's what it reminded me of.
See, find that clip. That's an amazing clip.
The fuck, dog. All these movies I need to rewatch. But the toe socks are actually a cool little hack, because normal socks, they kind of keep your feet like this, which is the way your feet always are in normal shoes. Yeah. But toe socks have that bit of fabric in between, so you're now more aware of your toes. And naturally what's going to happen without you even thinking about it is you'll start to move your toes more than you used to.
That's just that's literally what you just did right now. That's what I was like.
Looks like he has some toe socks on.
I mean, it might be.
Power Project family, healthy movement starts with healthy feet, which is why we've partnered with Vivo Barefoot shoes, because normal shoes have a narrow toe box. Normal shoes are not flexible, and normal shoes aren't flat. But Vivo is the opposite of that. You have a wide toe box so your feet have room to move. They're flexible so your feet can do what they need to do, and they're flat so you get true ground contact. They also have tons of different shoes on their websites, from hiking shoes, trail running shoes, gym shoes, just a ton. So you need to go check them out. Andrew, how can they get it?
You guys can get it over at vivobarefoot.com/powerproject, and at checkout, enter promo code POWER20 to save 20% off your entire order. Links to them down in the description, as well as the podcast show notes. Yeah, well, so if anyone's watching on YouTube and it just got blank for a couple seconds, it's because we were watching Mr. Deeds and it got dinged.
Shit. That was a good movie. But again, toe socks, I bought like 10 pairs from Vibram because for some reason they're very inexpensive on Vibram's website. But if you go to Amazon, you can get a bunch of pairs of toe socks, and I think they also make a big difference. And it's passive, you know? It's not like you're actually having to work on it.
Does it take you guys like 30 minutes to put them on though?
Not so much anymore. I got used to them. I can get them on a lot easier now. But yeah, sometimes it takes me a couple minutes.
If I have an hour to get somewhere, I'm going to be late just because it takes me about 25 minutes to put on the damn socks.
Well, this is the thing. When you're able to start moving your toes more, it doesn't take as long because now you can, like when I used to put them on, it was like I had to manually move the toe into each little thing. But now since I can move my toes better, I can just move my toes into the place. So it doesn't take time.
It feels good sliding it in too.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have to give it a shot again then. Because like early on, I gave up.
I think just in general, like a lot of stiffness and stuff that people experience, and you probably like lift and maybe you do some other things. You go home and you sit down for a while, have dinner, maybe you watch TV, then you go to get up off the couch and you do that. Rah, you make all kinds of crazy noises, and then you're trying to figure out how to kind of like stand up straight. And once you stand up straight, you feel like a lot of pressure in your ankles and stuff. I still feel that. I still get that, especially with the amount that I'm running. But it's reduced so much. Like I just love the fact that I have stuff that I can do for it. Toe spacers are great. Myofascial release, rubbing some type of ball underneath the foot. Sometimes I'll stand on a softball. Sometimes I'll stand on two softballs, which kind of hurts, but puts tremendous amounts of pressure through the heel. I get done with a run sometimes and I'm like, I don't know what that pain, there's some sort of weird pain in my foot.
Yeah.
Let me mess around with it, and I'll dig in and I'll find something and I'll be like, okay, let me work on it, but like, let me not work on it so much that makes me sore. I'm trying just to work on it to get relief. I can also go into the cold plunge. I can use some sort of hot therapy, cold or hot. I could use the shower, if you don't have access to a cold plunge. I fortunately have a hot tub and a cold plunge, which is amazing. But it's nice to have recovery methods. And another one, which is just a really, really old, been around forever, is to put your feet up.
Elevate,
lay on the ground or lay on your bed. Put your feet up on the wall. Have your feet up where they're positioned, where they're above your heart. And you could do that for 5-6 minutes here and there, and you'll be surprised at what these little things can do for you. I know a lot of people are in pain. I know a lot of people want to train hard, but it has a negative impact on you when you're kind of banged up. And then also people just looking to lose weight. They want to walk every day. They want to be able to do the things they love, do the things they enjoy. And when pain starts to creep in, it makes you not want to do those things. It makes it not fun anymore.
Absolutely. But, with that, I do think, taking the time to, like, I have one of those rollers from Hyper Ice at home. And you can get if you can just find some type of hard roll on Amazon. But every single morning, I try to take the time to just roll on my whole body, because I have noticed that habit has been something that has made a difference in terms of just my ability to drop down and move well and feel minimal restriction. But when you start doing that, you then literally after that, you might feel sore. Or when you're rolling on something hard, you might find that it's really painful, right? Sometimes when people are rolling on harder objects, they're like, I can't do this. There's way too much pain. That means maybe you have to start with something softer. So on Amazon, if you can find yourself, you can find yourself like something soft, and then like a hard, I think Kelly Starrett had his Supernova, something hard. That will be a habit that long term will make a big difference for you, but initially it might be super frustrating. And that's why it's like it's something I hope that more of us do, because down the line it'll make more of a difference. Just like with this barefoot stuff, initially, if you've been wearing normal shoes that have a narrow toe box, that have a lot of cushion, going into our barefoot sandals, the power sandals might not feel as comfortable. Going into Vivo barefoot shoes might not feel as comfortable. But you got to understand, this is just an area that you can get stronger. When your feet are stronger, you'll be able to handle all those forces without an issue. And your whole body will know that your whole body will have a difference. It just takes time. So give it the time it needs.
Yeah, and I know we're like mentioning a lot of different things. We're saying on one hand, you got to treat your feet nicely. On the other hand, we're saying you got to train your feet.
Yeah.
we believe that you have to do a little bit of both. And people that have probably already been through it are probably like, yeah, I get the idea. But for somebody that has a lot of pain in their feet, the answer is to figure out a way to go through the pain. And the guest that we had on, the girl that does the reviews,
Anya's reviews.
She did a great job explaining that she couldn't even get around in her own house.
Barefoot, yeah.
Yeah, she couldn't get around in her own home barefoot. Now, if you did something really difficult, if you ran further than you used to, you did jujitsu, you do MMA training or whatever it is you're doing, and your feet are banged up, well, that makes sense at home for you to protect your feet. I came rolling in today in just a pair of just sandals that have, or I don't even know what they are, like
slip-ons,
slippers. There you go. Yeah, I came on like I kind of almost hotel slippers, with some good padding under the feet, because I ran pretty far this morning, and so you do what you need to do in order to recover from everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
But you're going to find the sandals that we put out. A lot of people are like, those flip-flops, and why can't you wear this? Why can't you wear that? A lot of the responses were really good, and appreciate all the people that have purchased it.
Yo, thank you guys for getting on these, because we're going to be sold out pretty soon. So thank you. First off, thank you guys. And make sure if you bought them to adjust them. We have an adjustment video. If you don't adjust them, they won't fit as well. But if you take the time to adjust them, they'll fit your feet so nice.
Yeah, you can get them to where they fit perfectly. The sandals are amazing. You guys saw me running in them in the summer and in the spring a little bit, but it's cold out right now, so it doesn't make sense for me to go running around in them. It has enough padding under the foot to where you're going to be plenty secure. If you're somebody that's getting into running 10 miles, 20 miles, stuff like that, put on a regular shoe. Put on whatever your favorite shoe is. That's a little excessive, especially if it's your first go of it. But if you want to try these out for a trail run or for a 2, 3, 4 mile run, for me, they've held up perfectly for that. And again, I've actually worn these before with toe spacers and ran.
I remember that.
And that felt really good. And that was a great way to kind of condition my feet, condition my toes. And when it's warmer out, it's nice to get the sunlight on the feet, and it's also nice to just not have. It's convenient to not have socks on and not have your shoes on. It just feels good.
Yeah. No, the sandals, I really dig them because again, if you guys have ever worn rainbows, and rainbows used to be my flip-flop of choice in the past. I think actually they're down here.
And then are rainbows flat also?
Rainbows they're kind of flat. The thing is they have that little arch support thing right there, so it does go up at the arch. So they're not zero drop. But I have multiple pairs of rainbows because out of all flip flops, they were super high quality. They have a leather bed, and their bottom isn't as good, but they're not zero drop. Now, when we made these too, these are leather. So I've been wearing these for a while, so it's molding to my foot, kind of like my rainbows have. So it gets more comfortable. And then the thing I like the most is that the bottom is the Vibram sole, so it will last hundreds, if not thousands of miles. But these sandals were made to run in. You can run in these sandals because they have the heel strap and they have the lacing system that will mold that you can adjust to your foot. So if you guys want to run in them, you can. But again, if you're going from super cushiony stuff to barefoot shoes and barefoot sandals, just like a training routine, you have a few days where you're training, but then you have some fatigue. Yep. So we kind of look at some of the different shoes we have as having arrows in a quiver. You have your super shoes when your feet are feeling beat up. I have my Ultra Escalantes for days that I choose to go on a run and my feet are kind of beat up. I'll use the Ultra Escalantes. For days that I want to get a bit more out of my feet, I'll use the sandals or I'll use the Vivo Barefoot Trail Runners. You have different options because there are going to be certain days where you wake up and you walk and you're like, oh, fucking hell. You know what I mean? You're that's happened to me multiple times. And on those days, I will use a shoe that has more padding so that my foot has a bit of time to recover. But I still have some toe socks on. I still have some shit I can beat my feet up like the Nero ball so that my feet can still get stronger as I'm letting them recover.
And we did a lot of this when we were lifting. We would wear let's say I'm like, all right, I'm going to compete in April, and it's January. Well, in April, I'm going to start to throw on wrist wraps. I'm going to start to throw on elbow sleeves,
super small knee sleeves.
and I'm going to utilize, for the bench press, I'm going to utilize maybe a slingshot, maybe the elbow sleeves, maybe a combination of all that stuff. As the contest gets closer, you might say, hey, Mark, that was a pretty good bench, but like the meet is 6-8 weeks away. You got to take the elbow sleeves off, especially for like your top sets. And so you're conditioning yourself for that moment. You're training with the elbow sleeves on, the wrist wraps on, the belt. You're training with all these things on to allow you to handle more. And you do more and more and more volume. Then over a period of time, you're like, okay, now I have to take these off, because in competition, you're not allowed to wear elbow sleeves. In competition for the bench press, you're just allowed to wear wrist wraps. So you go to the competition and you hit your lift that way. But you build up over time in your training, and you deflect some of the wear and tear that you might get by protecting yourself with some elbow sleeves on.
Mm-hmm. I think a kind of a good metaphor for some of this is like, imagine that your hand, right? The hand that you use every single day. Imagine that for years you had it in a glove that didn't allow your fingers to move, and your hands were just moving that way for years. And then you finally take your hand out.
Walking around with little mittens all the time.
So you're literally like this. And then one day you take your hand out of the glove and you're like, ugh. And then your shit starts to move around, and then you start using it more. It'll take time for you to get literal dexterity in your fingers. There might be a day that you use your hand too much and your hand starts feeling sore, and then your knuckle gets inflamed, and then you have to you have to stop doing your shit for a little bit. That's the same shit that like happened with my feet. There were days earlier on where I'd have a sharp pain in one of my knuckles, a sharp fucking pain where I couldn't put much weight on my foot. And for days after that, I had to walk a bit more gingerly. I had to use more padding in my shoes, and I had to be super, I had to be just super ginger on my feet. And then it would go away, and then I would have improvement. So I really want to stress that, because I know that that's something that's really going to slow some people down as they're trying to get more into the barefoot thing. And I think those are some of the people who are like, this barefoot thing isn't for me, or this barefoot thing doesn't work, because you will. We've ran into those hurdles, and we're like a year and a half in now, and we're feeling really good. So just like weight loss, just like getting stronger, just like all these things, give yourself the time to improve, because it is not an immediate process as sucky as that is. But when you get close to the other side and when you start to see the benefit, it's fucking exciting.
Yeah. I just remember when I was a kid, I did everything barefoot. We would go out in the backyard, play, baseball or whatever, and we'd be barefoot. And I remember my mom being like, I can't believe you're running around, in grass, dirt, cement, barefoot. And then one day I'd put on my shoes and I never took them off, and then it became painful just to walk in the kitchen, like stupid small things where I'm like, dude, this is not cool. I always like using the car analogy. So like we're in the gym or in the garage, we're building up this machine, but then we roll outside with flat tires. Imagine if you had some legit tires with some actual grip strength on them, then you can put that power down on the street. So like, it's kind of the same thing with your feet. If you got strong ass legs, strong ass body, but your feet are basically numb, like you're missing out.
Andrew, you'll appreciate some of this car story, especially for me and you knowing some things about cars. Well, at least no one knows anything about a Tesla. At least I don't think they do.
I don't know shit.
But there was a storm the other day here in Davis, Dixon area, and I'm driving down the street and I hear this weird like clunking. I'm like blasting music, so I don't care. So I'm like, I'll just fucking turn it up. I don't care. I'm like, I don't think it's a tire. I like kind of swerve the wheel a little bit and like everything seems to be fine.
Your car was driving itself, right?
Well, it was before that. And I took the wheel and just jiggled the car around. I'm like, oh, it doesn't seem like it's a tire. Seemed like everything's fine. Then the noise got like kind of louder. And so I like turned the music down and I'm like, fuck, what is that? And so here was my strategy. So I slow down and then I just fucking smash the pedal, like the accelerator, and I just fucking take off. And guess what? It fixed the noise,
it
right?
Happens, yeah.
So yesterday, I didn't ever even check the car. I never looked at it.
Got home, said fuck it.
I never looked at it. I never even thought about it. I forgot about it completely. And then, yesterday I would like go to charge my car, and I go and I look at the passenger side, and I'm like, oh my God, like the side paneling's missing. I'm like, I wonder what the fuck's that's from. I'm like, oh, I was like, oh, it must have been my like slow down and speed up technique.
Yeah.
When you
Probably
say the
ripped
side
something off.
paneling is missing, what do you mean?
It's just above the tire. It's like not a crazy
Like a molding
deal.
or something.
Kinda, yeah, kind of like that. But it's like, yeah, I probably in the process of like slowing down and then going from 0 to 100
Knocked it off.
in a second, it probably just went.
In what universe did that seem like a good idea to you? To just be like, let's just power through this. What if that was a flat tire and you just like laid it on, and then your car just went.
And I just went up in smoke. I was like, I don't know anything about cars.
You have life insurance, right,
I
dog?
think so.
Yeah, Andy has you set up with
Yeah.
life insurance.
Andy's got it figured out.
Mark.
That's just the technology I'm working with over here.
Fucking hell, dog. No,
I can
dude.
appreciate it. Yeah. Sometimes you just, but the thing is, it's like a Tesla. It's not like you're going to work out the fucking carburetor, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, there's not much to check, right?
No.
Like I can't look under the hood. There's like nothing there.
Yeah. I would have just assumed that you like ran something over and it was stuck
I think it's
somewhere and
probably
then,
was.
yeah, but no, it was probably just
He
like
said it was raining hard too.
your fender
right?
flare or something.
Yeah, it was like raining and windy.
My favorite part is that you got home and you're just like, man, like didn't even think about checking.
That's a rich flex. That's a rich flex. It's like, whatever.
let me
Money,
take-
I'll pay for it.
Let me text Elon, like, dude, there's something wrong with your car. This is bullshit.
Elon, your car sucks. Falling apart, bro.
What the fuck happened to Elon recently? Apparently, like he was on stage with some artist. He was
I
on
don't
stage with Dave Chappelle. Was it? He said,
I
"I'm
don't
rich,
know.
bitch," and people like booed the fuck out of him.
Probably. Yeah, I did see something like that. It's already dead. Like
It's dead?
It's past.
Yo,
He keeps
Elon.
uncovering shit on Twitter. It's fucking crazy.
You guys see Hani Rambod? He took a real nosedive.
Really?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, now he's working. He worked with Chris Bumstead. Like that's got to be a
Oh,
giant.
I thought you meant like he literally fell. Yeah.
No, that's got to be like after he trained me, and then he's
Yeah.
like works with that guy.
With
he's
Sebum?
got to feel terrible.
Yeah.
He had two guys win. He fucking crushed it.
Sebum, and he wasn't working with Hadi Chupan, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, he was working with Hadi. Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
And then he had somebody else finish second. There's a picture. I don't know if I saw it on Hani's Instagram.
I think it was on Sebum's.
Man, Andrew Jacked. He's gonna win Olympia at some point. He is I don't get it. Like a lot of bodybuilders now are just so blocky. Like they don't have my opinion. They don't have that bodybuilder nice look that you generally see in classic, right? You see that nice shape and everything. They're just mass. But Andrew Jacked, he actually has that small waist. He's like Flex Wheeler was a flex. I was watching some Flex Wheeler
Flex Wheeler
videos
was
a
kind of
while
like
ago.
perfection almost.
Flex Wheeler was perfection, as that sounds. He was.
Yeah.
Andrew Jacked is the closest we have to Flex Wheeler, dog.
Yeah.
He's got to win in the next few years because no one can touch his look. No one can touch his look.
Jesus.
Is Sebum retiring this year?
He said he's going to at least do it one more year.
One more year? Yeah, he's young too, like 25, 26.
Is he that young?
I think he's young.
Yeah, he won for the fourth time. And I believe before that, I think he was like runner up like once or twice. So he's been kicking ass for a long time. Where's that picture with all those guys with
Let's see if I can find it.
the trophies or the gold?
But look at that.
Yeah, there was a lot of people were talking a lot about.
He's 27. Oh my God.
Yeah, it looks crazy.
But you said people were talking about what?
They were talking a lot about the previous winner, that guy's
Big
name-
Rammy.
Big Rammy, and they were saying that like his legs looked like they had like holes in them and stuff. But I didn't see that. Some people were speculating it was like site injections or something. I didn't see it, but yeah, there he is with two first place guys, and the other guy came in second.
Wow.
The guy that won the Olympia, I believe he's a undersized guy. Like I think he weighs like 220 or something, which is still massive. Getting on stage. Look how big Sebum looks just because of his height.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. It was an interesting Olympia for sure. Power Project family, how's it going? Now, we talk about sleep all the time on the podcast because it's one of the biggest things that helps you with your health and fitness, your recovery, your muscle gain, your fat loss, everything. That's why we've partnered with 8 Sleep for such a long time now, because the technology behind the mattress allows you to track your heart rate, the amount of times it takes you to fall asleep, your tosses and turns, your heart rate variability. It changes its temperature through the night based off how you sleep, but not only yourself, but maybe your partner on the other side of the bed. It is an amazing mattress. Andrew, how can they learn more?
Yes, head over to 8sleep.com/power project. That's 8 spelled out, EIGHT, sleep.com/power project. Along with more information, you guys will actually save $150 off of your entire order automatically. Links to them down in the description as well as the podcast show notes.
These guys got to go up there barefoot.
Mm-hmm.
They got to get the veins in the feet.
It is pretty interesting when you're watching some of them flex. Like, just like to actually flex the quad. When you're posing, you kind of have to twist into the ground to get the quads to activate. So when you see their feet when they're flexing, you see them flexing and creating an arch in their foot. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool once you start doing more shit with the feet, like the kind of stuff you notice with those guys.
They kind of have to, and when they create the arch in the foot, then you see all the muscles in the leg start to come up, and then there's kind of like weird stuff into the hip that you don't even know how to flex until you're. Like, you'll be lean enough to have those muscles, but you don't understand how to flex them. Yeah. And if you just flex your quad, and if you just flex your quad kind of straight, it's just like a blocky quad. Like, you don't really see a lot. You might see 3 different muscles. You might see the muscle next to the knee. You might see the next one. You might see that outside sweep a little bit. But until you learn how to really connect to the ground and kind of twist your foot into it's really hard. And then on top of that, that's not the only thing you're flexing. You're flexing everything. They're looking at everything.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking cool. Also, did you guys? I'm guessing you didn't see that World Cup final.
I heard.
I heard
Argentina won.
Argentina won, but it is probably the greatest game of World Cup soccer ever.
Nice.
Ever. It ended up being 3-3, and then they went to penalty kicks. But like this guy Mbappe, he plays for France, right? So Argentina already had 2 points, right?
He's one of the best in the world right now.
Mbappe's one of the best in the world. At minute 78, he scores a goal. And at minute 8, and I think 78, that was a penalty kick. And then at minute 80, he scores another goal to tie it up. So within a 2-minute period, he gets 2 goals. And then Argentina manages to score again. And then before the game ends at like maybe minute 115, France scores one more time. Then it goes to penalty kicks. It was a legendary game. It was beautiful. It was beautiful seeing Messi. Like, he was already the best player in the world, but it was like, now he is the god of soccer. He's like no one. He is the god of football.
Even with all that growth hormone.
Your brother posted that. I'm like, don't disrespect Messi, Chris. I saw that shit.
Yeah, I guess he took some stuff medically when he was a kid or something like that.
Yeah.
If we could all be so lucky.
I don't know if you guys heard Dana White talking about soccer.
Oh, he was? What'd he say? He's probably I hope he didn't diss him.
He completely smashed it.
Oh, Dana.
Oh, here, wait. I got a better. I'm going to send you another clip, Andrew.
Okay.
I sent you one already, but I'll send you another one.
Thank you.
I'll email it to you. Sorry.
You know, the interesting thing, though, is soccer cleats. Like, they did, like, fuck with my feet when I was younger.
Yep.
But, like, do cleats need to be that fucking narrow? Like, they're super narrow.
Well, a soccer shoe, you kind of probably, like, so in football, and American football, they want the shoe to be tight for the kickers so they can kick the ball hard. Does that have anything to do with anything?
You know,
for kicking the ball?
Maybe, because I was thinking about this, and like when I do some like random juggling and shit in my Vivos and I fuck around with kicking, I'm like, I can kick this just fine. Like,
so it might have been like a little bit of a mental state.
I think there's first off the culture of cleats, because cleats never were really that wide. They had the Copa Mundial cleat, which is the cleats that I wore when I was younger, but even so, those were still narrow for my foot. But I think the aesthetic part of it, because I remember when I was younger, there was this shoe, the Nike Mercurial Vapor. It was the first year it came out, and Cristiano Ronaldo was marketing it. But if you type in Nike Vapors, Andrew, they were by far the narrowest soccer cleat and just the thinnest soccer cleat on the market. But even I was like, Mom, can I get some Vapors, please? And she was like, okay. But all the kids started wearing Vapors. And it wasn't because they were technically the best cleat. It's because Ronaldo was wearing it and they just looked really good. But if you look at the cleat,
he called Nike and it was like, yo, can you make these a little wider for me?
Yeah. And they were even marketed in like being fast and quick and swift. And you look at them, like,
yeah, it looks like they fucking hurt.
they were super narrow.
Especially they come in the middle there.
Yeah. But that's just I don't think cleats need to be that way. I hope just more of this stuff gets out to, I don't know, more sports, because I think it would be super beneficial for the performance of athletes, you know?
Was this the right one, Mark, or did you send another one?
I emailed it to you, yeah.
Talks about soccer.
I think this is it.
Sound.
I'm working on it.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a big hockey fan, but I respect so
Seems like
much
this might be old.
how talented you have to be to play hockey, okay? Soccer, whole nother ballgame.
Oh,
Can't stand soccer. I think that it's the least talented sport on earth. There's a reason 3-year-olds can play soccer, okay? You run around and kick a ball. Yeah, Landsberg said, you wouldn't say that if you were in Brazil. I said, dude, I say this in every country. When you're playing a game where the net is this big, right, and the score is 3-1, are you me right now? That's a blowout. Do you know how, you know how untalented
He's
you
a
have to
true
be to score
American.
3 points when the net is this big? Now, in hockey, you have guys on skates, right, with crooked sticks, where they have to hit a
All right, that's
puck
good.
into a net that's the same.
He doesn't know what he's talking
That's
about.
a terrible take.
He's a true American. I'm not even, no, whatever. Dana White is a businessman. He kills it. I love him. But on that, nah.
Yeah, that's not the first time I heard that. Like, that soccer isn't. It doesn't take skill because literally anybody can do it. Because all you have to do is put the ball on the floor
Then
and
there's
kick.
people though that go way too far in certain things. Like if you say something bad about like baseball, you might say like baseball is boring or it's slow, and then there's people who are like, no, I kind of like that it's slow. I like that it's that way because it's a chess game, you know, a little bit. It's a strategy game in some ways. But then the people that like baseball, if you attack baseball right away, they're like, hardest sport in the world. It's the hardest sport by far in the world.
the reaction time you need.
Well, because even if you only hit the ball 30%, you're in the Hall of Fame. Because you're at like a
You
300
gotta hit
batting
a
average or
small
whatever.
round ball with a
And you're like,
cylinder.
just
with
relax.
It's whatever.
Like, can't we all just agree that like some form of fighting is probably like that's probably the. I mean, it's got to be kind of the worst of it, just because of like, what do you train for? You train for all elements of like chaos of somebody like kicking your ass,
Yeah, I think I can remember.
right? I mean,
in comparison to what you were explaining, but you're like, if you're at the biggest sporting event ever, but then a fight breaks out in the crowd, literally everybody does not give a fuck about the event. They all want to watch the actual fight now, which is definitely true.
you don't care about the multi-million-dollar athletes. They care about the two drunk fat guys fighting over a taco.
That's awesome.
Guys, are there any tools we missed out on for people as far as like getting into this barefoot business? I mean, we got some toe spreaders. The correct toes, we don't have a code with them, but I really like the correct toes because you can literally, within it, you can stick coins in to part of it, and you can get even a bigger toe spread between some of your toes, right? But there are cheaper ones on Amazon. We talked about the Neuro Ball. We got some rock mats here for texture underneath your feet, which will cause your feet to move more. Hand-foot gloving. Hand-foot gloving is something that I do multiple times a week, especially when I go to the sauna.
I still do it just when I'm putting my socks on in the morning.
Absolutely. Like what I'll do is I'll glove and then I'll squeeze my toes against my fingers and get that resistance. I was going to mention this too. With this Neuro Ball that you can get on Amazon, you can use your toes. Like I sometimes like to use my toes to grab onto the Neuro Ball. Kind of like if you're going to, you know how people work their grip with like different pieces of equipment? You can work your grip with this. Like think about all the actions that happen in your foot when you're doing that. So I'll grab onto this when I'm just chilling, right? So it's another passive thing.
I would say Human Garage, you know, they taught us like kind of the pulling of the skin, and they also taught us that you could just take your heel of your other foot while you're standing, and you can push down on the top of your foot, and there's a lot of release you can get there.
Yeah.
And you're gonna find weird sticky stuff in kind of like the lower ankle and all around the tendons of the feet. And you can take the skin and just, it will hurt. I'm doing it right now. You take the skin and pull it, but it feels really good, and you'll be able to get some good relief from that too.
Yeah. This is one thing too. Like with everything we're talking about here, it all comes down to pressure. Myofascial release that we talked about a bit, using your foot against this. A lot of these things, it's like Chris Kadowski, which is an amazing podcast. And I'm actually curious if you guys can comment, what do you think were like your top 3 podcasts this year? Let us know what your top 3 podcasts this year was, because we did a lot of good ones. But Chris Kadowski talked about the importance of pressure in myofascial release. And then I know that I started taking that more seriously after that podcast. And holy shit, so much, like my body just moves so much better. I have access to more things, more than I used to. And it's not like I was super tight before, but I'm even more limber now. All of that stuff will make a very big difference for you.
I think just get out of your socks and your shoes.
Yeah.
Just like literally try to be barefoot. And if it's too uncomfortable, again, pad up your feet whatever way appropriate, like if your feet are bothering you for the day. But I mean, I'm barefoot right now. I try to kick my shoes off every time we podcast. I don't think you're supposed to drive that way, but sometimes I do that.
I do too. Why are you not supposed to drive that way?
I don't know. You're supposed to have like a shoe on the driving
the
foot
law.
or something.
All right. You never drive that way.
No, I would never do that.
I would never. Yeah. Oh, yeah. What was it?
Your feet will grow, though. Your feet will grow, and they'll look a lot different, like over a period of time. So I know we keep just kind of hammering this whole foot thing, but it's important to us. I mean, we've talked a lot about sleep. We've told you guys about the mouth tape. I used different mouth tape this week, and it didn't work well. I didn't realize until the hostage tape guys came on the show that when you use the hostage tape, what he said was really accurate. I was just like, whatever, it probably doesn't work that great. He said the heat makes a huge difference. So I held my hand over the tape for like maybe 3 or 4 seconds, and then made sure I kind of rubbed the whole thing on there, and it stayed on way better. I couldn't believe the difference. Huge difference.
Taking the time to, like, if you need to put on, just like rub around it
Get a
bit.
little heat.
Massage it in.
That's what I do. When you massage it, like it gets even, it stays on even better. And because some people don't like it being on their lips, so just go like this. And then put it on.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, go like that and then put it on, and then you're going to be all good. But
Yeah, we didn't. We to definitely not be overlooked, but like what Gary and Ricky from Goda showed us, as far as like the some of the movements that are meant for other things, but like child rockers with your toes being tucked under. Stretching out your toes to get into like those weird positions. Like those definitely helped me.
And the Seiza position, stretches the shit out of the ankle.
Yeah, sitting on top of your feet. Yeah,
go to the Cador video. Go to the video. I'm just telling guys, like you two, you can do it, Andrew.
Okay, I'm like, which one?
For the people on the Super Training Gym channel, Cador Ziani's different positions. Every single day, I start my morning sitting off in Seiza. When I start working, I'll put my feet up, that has been also super beneficial. And when you see the way Cador's feet and function and the way he can move, again, all of this comes down just to the simple habits that you can do. But what I was going to mention was, as much as we've been talking about running and getting into running, do not neglect walking. Like, because walking is one of the easiest ways that you're going to be able to get more volume into your feet with minimal stress. So whether you 100%. Do it in sandals or Vivo barefoots or whatever, keep the habit of walking. Because it's just it'll help your progress as far as all this foot shit's concerned.
Yeah, don't try to run, get frustrated, and then just not run or walk.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure you're out there still doing some stuff. Also with the NeuroBall, you can actually stretch the big toe quite a bit, and I found some utility in that. Being able to get that big toe to move properly, I believe is just kind of another reason why I'm able to recover from these runs quite a bit. Just I think that area was real stiff. I think my toes, like, I don't know, man. I don't know what the fuck happened to me, but my body got to be so stiff where everything was stiff. The wrists, the fingers. It's like, really? Like everything? Like why did everything decide to get so stiff? But it's just, it's where I'm at. And I'm happy that I keep improving and keep getting better. There's still so much further to go. That's kind of exciting too. I kind of like that.
I think it's kind of a strength for you though. Because a cool aspect of that is that you are so stiff in so many places that as you start unlocking some of these things, you're able to give people that information because like I can't relate to certain aspect of stiffness that you've had. I can't relate to it. But there's probably people out there who are like, I know exactly what you're talking about and that's gonna work. So seeing you like, dude, the way you move now and the miles you're putting in, it's like it's fucking wild versus where you were before. It's crazy.
I'm like yesterday or 2 days ago when I was running on the beach. Again, I didn't do the math. I didn't think about it. It said to run 3/4 of a mile in approximately 7 minutes and 35 seconds. And it said times 12. And I was like, okay, like just like I'm a fucking military, you know, like I'm a soldier. Like I just like, aye, you know, and I fucking got it. I'm going to go do it. And so I did it. And as I'm doing it, as I get like maybe about 3/4 of the way in, I'm like, I'm going to be out here for like 2 hours. This is like a half marathon day almost, you know, at a much faster pace than what I'm used to. I'm like, holy fuck.
You were doing this on the beach?
Yeah. It was fucking nuts. Just kept running back and forth,
Was
back
that
and forth.
optional? Like, was it that
forth.
you chose to do it on the beach?
Yeah, because I couldn't really, I guess I could have done it on the hills, but that would have been like weird and probably too taxing. So
isn't it hard to run in sand? I'm sorry, I don't run in sand much. So like, isn't it pretty fucking hard?
it can be like the sand at first. You're like, oh, the sand feels good. But like when you're running on it for 2 hours, it just turns into like cement at a certain point. It just, you know, it hurts.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
But like, how do you get around the fact that like you don't really move in the sand when you actually, do you just like, what I'm saying
Knees
is,
get up higher?
yeah, like it's hard. Like you're in fucking sand. You can't really push off.
The soft sand is tough, but the sand that's like right by the water is probably the equivalent of being the same as like blacktop almost.
Okay.
I mean, if you were to fall on there, like, yeah, you would land probably pretty softly, but hitting your feet on there repeatedly over and over again is pretty intense. And I cold plunged in there, which was also really cool.
Saw that.
Because I don't usually go in like that. Like I don't mind getting my legs wet and stuff. Like it doesn't seem crazy cold to me, but it's like way too cold for me to just be like, yeah, I'm just going to go right in there. I just walked right in there. It felt great.
Yeah. Nice.
Andrew, take us on out of here, buddy.
Sure thing.
Oh, also, guys, for those of you who got the power sandals, let us know what you think. Make sure that they're adjusted correctly and give those babies time to break in because, again, as you wear it more, the leather breaks in, but we want to see y'all wearing them. We want to see
And those of you that think Nsima looks nice today in the vest that he's wearing, he's giving it away. Andrew, tell them how they can win it.
Yeah, you guys got to head over
That's
to
a
Power.
lie.
Oh, my bad. I thought
He said he's giving it away.
Oh, yeah, go to www.
powerproject.live.
Yeah.
I thought what Mark was going to say is like, if you want to pick up this outfit because Nsima looks so good in it, good luck. You're mixing some pretty interesting colors over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it works out on you. Works out fine.
Okay, you know who I look like? Who's the SpongeBob character?
Couldn't tell you.
Squidward?
No, not Squidward. He's the
SpongeBob?
He has like the purple star nose. He's the old man who always goes like,
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's the
Who
same
is that
color
guy?
palette. I'll find it right now.
I've never watched it. So.
SpongeBob.
Oh, yeah.
You know who I'm talking about.
I do.
You know what I'm talking about.
I love SpongeBob.
Mermaid Man.
Mermaid Man.
I look like Mermaid Man.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right.
I have the color palette of Mermaid Man.
Cool. Okay. Well,
Andrew.
thank you everybody for checking out today's episode. Please drop some comments down below. Let us know, like Nsima said, your top 3 favorite podcasts that we did this year. So hopefully we have enough time to go over those. If not, we'll check those out early next year. And for more information or just if you guys want to hit up the power sandal, go to powerproject.live. We have a lot of other cool stuff on there as well, but you know that hot item right now is the power sandal. So links to them links to us, I should say, down in the description as well as the podcast show notes. Make sure you guys are subscribed if you're not subscribed already, and follow the podcast at MB Power Project on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. My Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter is at I am Andrew Z Nsima.
At Nsima Inyang on Instagram and YouTube. At Nsima Inyang on TikTok and Twitter. Mark?
Smelly's tip, right?
Yes. Please do.
Yeah.
Time for one of those tips. I think I wrote something down.
Uh-oh.
Maybe I didn't. Oh, this is something I was just thinking about the other day. And a quote that I heard a long time ago, and then it popped into my head. And it is that somebody else has been dealt the same exact cards as you have, and they played them differently, and they figured out a way to win. So fucking figure out a way to win. Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. I'm at Mark Smelly Bell. Catch you guys later. Bye.